Hey guys, Flamengo greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. And if you're just joining us, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down here, turn on the notification bell, and drop a like on the video. We got into Palmeiras' head. They're out there talking, saying, follow the leader and all that, but they felt it. The truth is they're there, right? Knowing, right, that there are a lot of mistakes in their favor. They have, we're going to show here, 17 points. 17 points just from referee mistakes, okay? Just from referee mistakes. We're going to bring everything here, right? The dossier. We're going to show you the dossier. And they're complaining. They're releasing statements, right? The statements now, talking about complainers, complaining about their informal advisors. They don't complain about them, right? They complain about influencers. Stop following them, okay? If you're not a Flamengo fan, especially if you're a fan of Varzeras or Palmeiras, just accept it. That's it. And they're trying to push this, right? We show up here like always, reminding you to follow, like, and share on all platforms, right? Also, always reminding you that we're here thanks to Mais Cabello, and you can get a discount on the Mais Slim Weight Loss Program where you lose weight without hair loss. Man, my hair is getting really thick. There's external treatment too. Exomaze as well, just reminding you that you can get it right now. All our sponsors are there in the pinned comment. And we have our tips channel. I'll leave the QR code here on the screen for our tips channel, which is really taking off. It's a great channel. We're always bringing a lot of tips for you. And I want to share some amazing odds for new signups, okay? Guys who are just joining, new signups. João Fonseca. João Fonseca is on at 6 in the morning, man, and he's doing really well. At Roland Garros. Who knows? Maybe he can repeat Guga's saga. Champion at Roland Garros, man. Our greatest Brazilian, the greatest Brazilian tennis player in history. João Fonseca has a chance there. And look, João Fonseca to win is at 14. Just to be clear, you can only bet. Play responsibly. It's for those over 18. This is entertainment, not an investment. I'll leave it here. The link to our tips channel and also the direct link to the ticket so you can bet on João Fonseca 6 in the morning. The Rubro Negro will be watching. On top of that, he's a Flamengo fan, right? So you can follow along. I'll leave it here, João Fonseca. The link for you to take advantage of, to register. It's for new registrations, okay? Only new users. But it's paying 14, my friend. It's no joke. You're going to play with it. You'll put a little money in there, made a new registration, put in a little money, and it's already 14 in your account for you to play with, okay? It turns into 14, but only for those who registered after May 31st, okay? Well, let's go. I'm going to bring up right away this situation I mentioned to you, and I think it's important for us to react to it here. Here, based on TNT Sports, Flavio Flavolado was also following. Just look at the numbers.
And how many
times we've said here that attitude
of the player shows that, look, and how many times have we said here that the player's attitude shows what happened? Please, come on, see if there's any Palmeiras player complaining about the ball. I just want them complaining about the ball in the box. There's the possible foul on the goal. There's no Palmeiras player who complains or raises his hand. There's not a single Palmeiras player who complains or raises his arm.
There's not one.
And we've said it here many times. The field shows us a lot. There's no Palmeiras player who complains. There's no Palmeiras player who complains. Look.
It's tough. The guys are chasing the ball, so it's impossible to watch it. How could we?
Danilo himself suffered the foul. He doesn't complain. No.
Murillo, right?
Murillo. He doesn't complain. He doesn't complain, you see.
Wilson, no?
No, I don't think it was a foul. I'm with you. Not even.
Murillo doesn't even complain. Not even the player complains. Not even the player complains, okay? So it's a situation that's very important to analyze, okay? Yeah, just to add, it's a total reversal. It's a total reversal. For example, having this statement from Palmeiras, it's a shame. Palmeiras released a statement complaining, right, even about the influencers. And I'm really impressed by this statement from Palmeiras. Even the Planet of Football posted it, and so did ESPN. Yeah, Palmeiras released a strong statement, but they're known for statements, right? It's about refereeing, and it attacks false narratives, influencers, and pseudo-journalists. Yeah, the videos of the plays reviewed by VAR in the game between Palmeiras and Chapecoense released by the CBF are enlightening. Yeah, they clarify a lot of things. even though the referee and the VAR had already decided it was a goal, that there was nothing to resolve, right? And it breaks down the false narratives. Narratives came up after another victory, when living. It's funny that they're so nervous that they even write the official statement wrong. In the disallowed goal play, both the on-field and video referees agreed Palmeiras defender Murilo was pushed. They agree that it doesn't affect the play, that he's not participating in the game, that he's not involved in the play. That's what they agree on. They're already creating another narrative. It's their way of spinning what was released. Everyone saw it and read the lips, right? Yes, so I'm going to go straight here. Just take a look. It's worth it. Topic 9, no 10. The video of Remo's goal is shown. They're talking about Remo in the 11th topic. Look here. Finally, we suggest to the Palmeiras family not to be fooled by false narratives created by influencers and pseudo-journalists who use imbalance and insinuations in search of audience and engagement. Mistakes happen for and against all teams. It's funny that there are so many in favor of Palmeiras, right? Don't consume content from those who want harm for Palmeiras. And then just follow the leader, okay? Last year we followed it too, and we ended up champions, right? Botafogo followed it too and ended up champions, right? You all did the same, followed the leader, and became champions. Palmeiras hasn't won a major title in a long time. So here we have a very important situation for us to bring up regarding these mistakes, right? These controversial points about Palmeiras, I'm not even going to call them mistakes, okay? Controversial points about Palmeiras, about Varmeiras, okay? 17 controversial points. Look, round 4, 3 points, Palmeiras and Fluminense. Non-existent penalty on Vitor Roque. 2 outs, 2 more ball outs, okay? Yeah, in other words, there are a lot of mistakes, a lot of controversies, right? So 3 points there, okay? Palmeiras and Fluminense. Did you write it down? Round 7, 3 points again. Palmeiras and Botafogo. A sending off and a penalty not given for Botafogo. Bandeira, Fabiano Bandeira at Placar had talked about this, and Elon mentioned it too, right? In that game, Palmeiras and Fluminense, that's already 6 points, okay? Round 9, 3-point round, Palmeiras and Grêmio. Penalty not given for Grêmio, okay? Did you write that down? 9 points, okay? Round 10, 3 points foul by Gustavo Gomes on the second goal in Palmeiras versus Bahia. Perfect, I remember that perfectly, okay? Round 14 more points, Palmeiras versus Santos. Foul by Alan on Bernal on the equalizer, okay? So did you write it down? But that's it, okay? Round 15 period, Palmeiras and Remo. Non-existent sending off, penalty not awarded to Remo. Surreal, my friends, surreal. Let's go. Round 18, 3 points. Palmeiras and Chapecoense. Equalizer disallowed at 95 minutes for a non-existent foul, okay? Yeah, and I'll say this. Chape's penalty wouldn't have all this pressure. They could have scored it easily. That's why I understand this 17-point total. It could be less, right? Because they'll say here, no, wait a minute. Wait, it wasn't 3 points that Palmeiras won. At least Palmeiras was going to win. But then if you have the penalty with no pressure at all, maybe the guy scores, right? And then it could become 3 points, okay? So let's take out a few. Let's put 6 points here, okay? Out of the 17 we're talking about here, for example, it wouldn't necessarily be 3 points lost in each game, but let's put 6 here. So minus 11 points, okay? With 11 points, Flamengo would be 4 points ahead with 1 game in hand, possibly reaching a 7-point lead, okay? That's it. They don't mention that, okay? There it is, okay? Here's the dossier with everything collected. So how does it look? Look, we have the players showing up for the Brazilian national team, right? Yeah, they're already boarding for the United States, right? Coming here for the World Cup. Leo Pereira, Vini Jr., Lucas Paquetá, Wesley, all these guys from the red and black crowd. Shall we check out the footage from Angelo Furtado? Let's go. Look, I'll show the angle, right?
It's man-to-one, man. It's man-to-one, right, guys? It's man-to-one. It's man-to-one.
Thanks.
Leo Pereira right there, look. Player Leo Pereira coming out here. And he's coming to the crowd, huh? Call the crowd over here. Leo Pereira, huh? Leo Pereira at the Hilton Hotel, huh? Leo Mantuan. He's watching everything, man. What's that? Happy Junior? Look, there's Vinny. Mango's lineup leaving the Hilton Hotel. Vinicius Jr. just got out of the car there. He got out. Here goes Vinicius Jr. Mango's crew, Vinicius Jr., huh? From Mango, Vinicius Jr., let the guy come down, man. Let the guy come down. The question is, which player is going to come out there, huh? Wesley. He came from Mango, Wesley.
Thank you.
And Lucas is going to sing, huh? With Wesley and Pakata. And Pakata. Wesley and Pakata. A lot of excitement for Danilo. My friend, you are going to run. Danilo, the crowd is shouting, let's go, Danilo. Look. Hey guys, we have some important information to share with you. Yeah, first of all, right, FIFA has set the
uniforms for the Brazilian national team in the group stage of the World Cup. Brazil and Morocco, yellow shirt, blue shorts, and white socks, goalkeepers with an all-black uniform. Yes, Brazil and Haiti, yes, blue shirt, blue shorts, and blue socks, goalkeepers with an all-pink uniform. Brazil and Scotland, yellow shirt, white shorts, and white socks, goalkeepers with an all-red uniform, okay? So that's the schedule, right? For Brazil in the World Cup, the uniform schedule. And look, let's also talk about Flamengo, who might lose Everton Araujo, right? He's a starting player, right? Man, today he plays really well, right? He's a starter for Flamengo now, a midfielder, right? Flamengo might lose him to Milan. And Milan's scout was at Maracanã to watch the match between Flamengo and Coritiba last Saturday. Yeah, the scout was there to watch Everton Araujo, according to Vene Casagrande. So far, Milan hasn't sent any offer to Flamengo for the player, but the presence of the Italian club's scout at Maracanã shows their interest in the young 23-year-old midfielder. So Flamengo could lose a starter, right? Impressive player, a player who even has the potential to earn a call-up to Brazil in the next World Cup cycle, right? Flamengo could end up losing an important player in their midfield, right? Yeah, not just that. Okay, not just that. Flamengo also has the possibility of losing another important player who is even at the World Cup, huh? Look, Matias Vinha is going to play in the 2026 World Cup with Uruguay. That's right, Matias Vinha has been called up by Marcelo Bielsa. It's confirmed, Matias Vinha. And I checked with an Argentine journalist, a friend, who assured me that River is considering paying even more because of the World Cup call-up. Right, yeah, what? Ooh. Man, yeah, he's a player that River is really considering paying the roughly $5 million in the buy option, okay? It's worth remembering that Flamengo agreed to a paid loan deal plus a purchase option, which came close to about $5.5 million. And now River is already considering paying that amount and signing the player who is, possibly even a starter in the World Cup for the Uruguay national team. Look at that, Flamengo losing out for peanuts, right? Because it's a very low amount. It's impressive, guys, really impressive. Flamengo could end up losing here. Matias Vinha was worth around $5 million. So, right, we're getting close to about 30 million reais, around 28 million reais in total. I think that's very little. For a player who's going to play in the World Cup, so Flamengo, Now knowing that the player was called up, he's a Flamengo player, but he's on loan to River Plate and will probably end up leaving for a very low amount. Yeah, River is strengthening their squad, looking to sign Almada, right? They're getting stronger, even aiming for next season, maybe the Libertadores and everything else. So River Plate is signing, and the likelihood is that it's a permanent deal. That's it. Matias was a World Cup player, someone Flamengo could have kept, aiming for the World Cup, and then sold him for a much higher price after the tournament. Imagine if he's a starter for the Uruguay national team. Imagine if Uruguay, with Magno, Arrascaeta advancing, right, and Varela playing really well. Flamengo could have had both fullbacks from the Uruguay national team, right? After the World Cup, they might lose Matias Vinha, who could go to River for a ridiculous amount. Ridiculous, right? For a national team player, a Uruguayan, someone who's at the World Cup. It really makes you mad, doesn't it? It really makes you mad. And Flamengo is going to lose more players, huh? More players that Flamengo is going to lose. We'll talk about that here. Now it's Cebolinha. Flamengo already knows that it's very unlikely they will be able to sell the player. Yeah, that's some information we have here regarding the transfer market, right? Some important information for us to bring here from our own investigation. Yeah, Flamengo is waiting for an official offer for Everton Cebolinha, right? And they know that it's unlikely clubs will want to pay a lot for him. So the decision, okay, is that Flamengo's directors are deciding to keep the player until the end of the year if nothing comes in. Flamengo thinks it's worth it, but Flamengo wants to get at least 3 or 4 million euros. São Paulo is interested, Corinthians is interested, but they want to pay very little. No, Flamengo. And there's also the fact that the player has to agree as well. So, given what's happening and the current situation, Flamengo will probably let him finish his contract until the end of the year and won't agree to strengthen another team in the middle of the season. So, unless a proposal comes from abroad, which Flamengo currently considers unlikely, it would have to be a Brazilian club. Right, so the player will be free to sign a pre-contract in the middle of the year, won't he? Flamengo will hardly agree to negotiate with Brazilian clubs, especially since those guys want to pay peanuts. The information I got is about millions. Those guys are offering millions of euros, right? Yeah, damn, 2 million euros. Then to release him in the middle of the season to speed things up so they don't have to wait until the end of the year. Man, that's surreal, right? Surreal. A player like Cebolinha, Flamengo is going to use him as if he were on loan until the end of the year. And then they're going to lose him. Unfortunately, they're going to lose this whole deal. Yeah, it's surreal, man. This situation with Cebolinha is unfortunate. Guys, I feel sad because of the quality of the player, you know? We know he's a very high quality player and we really do feel sad. So, the information we've gathered here, exclusive, right? According to a source connected to Flamengo's management, there is no possibility of the club trying to sign Kaio Jorge in this transfer window. In the middle of the year, even with the striker having played only 12 matches in the Brasileirão, internally the assessment is that Cruzeiro has no interest in negotiating with Flamengo. In addition, Flamengo understands that it is not possible to make new investments of this level frequently, especially in players with such a high market value as was the case with Lucas Paquetá. Is that right? So Flamengo has already made a big move. This information was confirmed earlier on Placar by Raiza and also by Simplicio that Flamengo will not make big moves in this transfer window now, okay? Maybe at the end of the year, but not now. And actually, Flamengo will need to sell players. Flamengo will need to sell, okay? So Flamengo will need to make money. That's why there's concern about Everton Araujo. Because if a good offer comes in, Flamengo might sell. In my opinion, Flamengo shouldn't do that. Flamengo should keep him. Keep him. Still, according to this source, an alternative would be to involve Everton Cebolinha, who we were also talking about, in a possible negotiation. But the problem is that this source guarantees that the forward would be very unlikely to accept a transfer or agree to be included in a deal since his contract with Flamengo ends in December, okay? Another name that could be included in the talks is Luis Araujo, but the tendency is that Cruzeiro will no longer show interest in the player, okay? So it's considered a totally unlikely deal. About what they said, Kaio Jorge could come after the cup. He didn't play the 13th game. Raiza already said that he had muscle pain and everything, right? With some muscle discomfort. So about Kaio Jorge, Flamengo understands the board, right? A source connected to the board told us that their assessment is that Cruzeiro won't be interested in negotiating the player. And Flamengo also understands that it's not possible to make investments of that size right now, okay? But BAP said he was going to spend $1 billion at Flamengo. When he says that, he means over the course of 2 years, also counting salaries and a series of other situations, okay? It's not that Flamengo is going to go out signing a bunch of players. No, that's not it, okay? Flamengo will, as we've already said, Flamengo will do scouting. Flamengo will look to sign young players, right? And players who can meet Flamengo's needs. Yeah, and who aren't that expensive. So Flamengo is evaluating all of this. There are opportunities in the transfer market. We can talk about that again later, but there are opportunities there. But that's it, guys. Flamengo, in this tough reality, will still have to sell players. That's it. I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below. Turn on notifications by clicking the bell and leave a cool like on the video. Thank you very much for your company. Red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Big hug. Thanks. I'm out.